I want to talk about COVID-19, spirituality, and the situation we are in. For over a year, our lives have come to a pause. Schools are closed, offices are closed, manufacturing has slowed, supply chain is disrupted, humanity lost millions of lives. Every nation's economy is facing huge budget deficits. Healthcare system is challenged all over the world. Life has gone unpredictable. Rich or poor, old or young, male or female, labor or executive, soldier or politician, student or teacher, everyone is facing the hardship. Many families have lost their family members. They are elders, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, burdening families with sadness and uncertainty. We have science, many faiths and religions which has failed to identify the real cause or solution for the situation we are in. No one is able to predict the future. New variant of COVID is re-threatening our lives with no reprieve arriving for us. In a family, when kids misbehave, they are disciplined multiple ways, and one of the primary ways is depriving them temporarily from the routine. Parents want kids to behave well. Parents punish kids with compassion. Similarly, nature has reached a point of brink to discipline us. We have squandered the earth resources as if no future generation requires earth resources. We have polluted the nature, impacting all living beings. We have science gadgets which captivates human mind by ignoring all the human ethical and spiritual senses. We have powerful weapons to destroy the earth. We live with so many differences between individuals, societies, nations, and religions. There is so much of I ego in us which is disabling us from thinking about favoring others, other societies, other nations, other religions, and so on. Our mental and physical actions have impacted the environment, societies, nations, and there is no assurance we can sustain lives in this world and the host earth in the near future. But my spiritual master says earth is going to remain as a host for a few 100,000 years. So nature has to take effort in preserving the earth for future generations. When we hurt the nature, nature does give us time to change. When it goes out of control or before going out of control, nature exercises its power in correcting the course. Nature is, after all, governed by our own ancestors who once lived as humans. They have attained the supreme state of godly consciousness with the riddance of I ego, and they undertake the administering efforts in planning the evolution and implementing the evolutionary plan in Mother Earth. Such ancestral elevated souls belong to every religion existing in the world. These elevated souls remain in the celestial world and continually serve different regions in this world by blessing the existing humanity for their elevation to higher state. These ancestors are continually serving us for our spiritual progress. They can serve from that state until the earth life is ceased for all living beings by the divine source. There are various ways nature can punish its citizens, though it appears as punishment from a human mind. After leaving the human body, the departed soul will feel the human death as a blessing. So the punishment of earth citizens includes nature's actions like hurricanes, cyclones, earthquakes, twisters, wildfires, pandemic, and many more. One of the ways nature is punishing us today is this outbreak of COVID pandemic. Many science believers, many faith believers, many atheists, many agnostics, and many tribes are scratching their head for the situation we are in and not able to pinpointedly say the origins of COVID, the spread of COVID, and the continuity of this problem other than speculating. After 1 year, we all are living with COVID fatigue, and it still remains a puzzle to solve. Vaccines have arrived to manage the situation, but not as a solution, and the real cure for COVID is still not available. Doctors are unreliably using the techniques of medicine and science to treat the COVID patients. With all prayers from faith believers, with great research from scientists, with great common sense from intellectual humans, with great spurt of growth in science and technology, with great medicines available for humans, with great ammunitions to the level of destroying the earth, we are still struggling without solution to this problem. We are surely missing something in spite of the abundance of our intellectual capacity. By knowing the truth, I felt I am obligated to this humanity to disseminate the information of what I know, what I learned, and what I believe in. You all have right to listen or not to listen, to believe it or not to believe it. Transform yourself accordingly with the belief or continue to live in disbelief. That surely is your freedom. What I'm going to say may not appear to be important for many because humanity is still soaking in material life pleasures. Before I delve deep, you will be contemplating to know who am I. I am a normal human being like you, but I have affinity for divine pursuit. My spiritual master, whom I revere the most, is more than million parents in terms of his love for me and my love for him. With his grand love for the humanity and with his self-realization knowledge and the knowledge on evolution and environment, he has provided this grand knowledge beyond humanity to me and my ashram brothers and sisters. This grand knowledge is on realizing the consciousness which is supreme, grand, and the greatest. There is nothing beyond this consciousness. This consciousness is the origin and the end. This supreme consciousness exists beyond our general human awareness. We as humans have every right to expand our awareness to that level of supreme consciousness while leading a human life. For a long time, our ancestors believed Earth is flat and shunned all the alternative theories. Once it is proved, now we accept Earth is in a spherical shape. Likewise, this grand knowledge can be acquired only with the aspirant's acceptance and individual efforts. First step is knowing by listening. Second step is learning and following. Third step is realizing the existence of supreme consciousness. This grand supreme consciousness is what many saints, sages, and prophets immerse themselves in. To name a few, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavir, Lord Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, Baba Guru Nanak, and few more have realized the state of supreme consciousness, and from that state of mind they lived a human life. Thus they gave the messages of how to live as a human, and with their teachings how one can embrace the supreme consciousness. All religions and faiths are based around that. Is that core knowledge followed today? That is something I will leave it up to you to introspect. I'm taking up the task of relaying this because this is something I strongly believe in. This is the only way out for the humanity to lead a happy and harmonious life. This is the only path for securing the later generations. This is the only way to secure our world from the disastrous COVID situation we are in and the following natural disasters nature has in pipeline for us. Only thing nature is expecting us is to transform ourselves with better personality of compassion towards humanity, other beings, and environment. It has decided to eliminate the ones who remains burdened to the earth, who have fulfilled the conditions to lead a post-human life in celestial world, who are opposed to the personality transformation, who have reappeared as human after several human lives and still not taking efforts to align with the evolutionary plan. Thus we are seeing the COVID effects with some dying, some recovering with more issues in leading their life, some not contracting COVID even after family members getting it. It wants to spare the ones who will add humility, bringing better values to their human life and aligning with evolutionary goals. So the solution is only our personality transformation and how much we as a human society can embrace it. If each of us think I can transform, then our family members can transform, then community, then society, then nation, and gradually the whole humanity. One might ask, if that is the case, why nature is seeking the transformation now? This situation existed few years ago too. Our minds always want to find a logic. Nothing wrong with that intellectual question. Most of the men and women in this world are not the humans born for the first time, and thus they miss the opportunity to align with the evolutionary goals. They have reappeared due to their past desires and was given another chance of life to transform in this human life. Nature always has patience, and it has chosen now as a time to correct the situation and save the physical nature in this world. Everyone says the best form of giving is giving food, shelter, education, and making lives better for the needy people. While that is true, from the eyes of Supreme Divine, which governs the nature, anyone who is learning, knowing, accepting, realizing, and disseminating that grander truth to a common man in this world is the best giving one can undertake. This is the best form of giving because the benefit of this knowledge surpasses human life and beyond. All I am going to attempt here is summarize the great discourses from my dear spiritual master and convince each of you to transform your personality to divine friendly personality. For more of that convincing, I want you to hear my spiritual master as well. I will provide the details for hearing my spiritual master later. So, the self transformation is the only solution to the problems we are in. These efforts will surely help you, your family, your society, your nation, and the total humanity to save us from the COVID ruining our lives. This self transformation we are seeking is a permanent change in our personality. I am one among that fortunate with the blessing and guidance from my spiritual master to talk about this ultimate truth. While I say this, I am not having pride, but only the love for the people and the divine. This transformation in me is due to my spiritual master, we reverently call as Ayya in Tamil language. If I have to say one thing about him with love, he is Supreme Divine Source appeared in human flesh as my master. He is a friend, guide, father, mother, and master for me. His starting of a movement and teachings to transform people is going to reverberate in this world in near future with a name called International House of Self-Realization. Let me now proceed to talk about the personality transformation. Friends, brothers and sisters, we cannot live in this world endlessly. We have to leave this world when our time arrives. We all have ambitions in this life which revolves around the prosperity in terms of wealth, health, and achievements in our lives, our families, society, and nations. We also have self image which should not be perturbed at any cost. We all feel our opinion is the best and others are not correct. All our education at elementary school, middle school, high school, college are focused on career and material gains and completely avoids fulfilling the real human life ambition of reflecting the great human personality and realizing the existence of life after death of human body. Humans possess the amazing gift of realizing the self in them, which is deathless and exists beyond the human life. Gaining the knowledge of self realization and working towards that is the main life goal of every human being. Accordingly, making changes in life is what is the real prosperity which aligns with our evolutionary plan. Even if you don't believe and take efforts today, you will work towards that prosperity in future after enduring hardships created by ourselves and the nature. For that purpose, we have to reappear in this world as humans or other living beings based on our deeds and desires. So, what is the evolutionary plan? We all have lived in this world for over 10 million years in pre human forms like bacteria, insects, plants, trees, birds, animals, and finally to become a human. This is our evolutionary process. For this evolutionary process, we also have a life to lead after human life. That life will not have a human body or physical body. We will hold a human invisible body called astral body. That world we live is called celestial world or astral world. That life is called celestial life or astral life. The ambition for high status in celestial life will be riddance of I ego, which we accumulated so well stealthily in our human life. There are gradations in celestial life in the order of I ego removal. Best are the ones with no I ego, and better are the ones with lesser I ego. Worst are the ones with I ego. If that I ego elimination effort is taken now as a human, that will uplift the landing in the post human life to a superior state. This is the grand truth in the evolutionary process. Willfully ignoring the knowledge of ridding the I ego will be forcefully pursued by each of us in the celestial life or after reappearing in future as humans or other form of living beings in earth. Therefore, it is our duty to acquire this grand knowledge and work towards the goals of higher stature in celestial life. The byproducts of this effort, if taken as a goal in human life, is number one, we can avoid coming back to the earth as a human or other living being by ridding the karma. The second byproduct is we will have a possibility of post human life revelation in our human life. We all should understand that our human knowledge ends with the human life because of its temporary nature. The spiritual knowledge we acquire as a human will be the grand knowledge and will remain permanent, extending beyond the human life, and that knowledge revolves around the riddance of I ego in us. Now comes the question, how do we remove the accumulated I ego? Many will say, I don't have ego, and they will staunchly argue against the presence of ego. Such arguers should know that if ego does not exist, he or she cannot live in this world as a human because he or she would have already become a superior divine source or God. God is nothing but a state of supreme consciousness or a superior state of godliness. This state can be addressed with both genders, and hence my master says, we humans differ from him or her only with the presence of this I ego in us. We always continue to live in denial, saying, I don't have ego. Now or later, we will have to pursue this knowledge of ridding the I ego to acquire that supreme consciousness or that state of godliness. To rid the ego and elevate to the state of godliness, what we have to do is, in all our mental and physical actions, we should apply two baseline personalities. They are detachment and pure love. What my master says is, if we don't imbibe these baseline personalities in our day-to-day lives, in all our mental and physical actions, any number of spiritual actions or efforts like meditation, prayers, pilgrimages, renouncement, and worship is not going to help us to excel in the path nature has carved out for us. So, how to apply these baseline personalities in our day to day life, in all our mental and physical actions, is important for every human. I would presume now that a person who is following the methods I'm going to relay here is an aspirant. This aspirant can also be addressed as truth seeker because he or she is going beyond the realities of human life, which is temporary in his or her spiritual journey. Every human indulges in their daily duties or work or engagements to fulfill those responsibilities as a mother, father, son, daughter, brother, sister, friend, colleague, social member, or any association in life. While performing these duties, the outcome experience is happiness or sadness. These happiness or sadness are the results of our own actions. We should not waver with these outcomes and continue to perform our duties. This action is called detachment. Detachment does not mean leaving responsibilities in life or living a life of abstinence and not engaging with the world. The other baseline personality is pure love. Generally, love itself is pure, and why do we add the prefix pure? It is because any action performed with love which has return expectations or preconditions are not pure. Love should never have a return expectation, and it should be unconditional. This purity should be deeply present in our hearts and should be a permanent character of the aspirant displayed in all actions and thoughts. That's why we attach the prefix word pure. This pure love should be exhibited to everyone, every being, and everything around. A lot of us today, when we show love, we expect similar love from others. Aspirants should not have any expectation of love returns. Aspirants' duty is to love, give love always, and should not worry for the return of love. If one expects the return of love, then it is not a pure love. Aspirants' attitude should be to give complete love and not expect any love or any tangible returns. With these two baseline personalities of detachment and pure love, aspirants should embrace the personality of patience. Observing patience is a divinely character and an important influence in the pursuit of supreme consciousness. Patience is very critical first step for crossing the human aware consciousness. In anything we do in today's world, many get agitated or opinionated or stressed or angered or frustrated or mad. When such expressions are observed by other person, the reactions as a response will be impatient or furious or violent or revengeful. Humans are easily stimulated to go against observing patience. The aspirant who is obeying the two baseline personalities we discussed before will automatically amplify the patient's behavior. This aspirant, in times of physical hurt or false accusation or revengeful act of someone or any action which stimulates to lose patience, he or she will observe pure love towards the person or being or the object causing the act of losing patience. This aspirant will observe detachment to deflect the influences against the patients. While observing patients, aspirant can control or manage the situations well by avoiding any wrongful reactions. Friends, brothers and sisters, we are born in this world to carry out our duties as a mother, father, son, daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, and other roles in the society. In all situations, while carrying out duties, an aspirant needs patience in handling challenges and problems accompanying it. Aspirants should exhibit detachment from behaviors like frustration, anger, annoyance, boredom, hurriedness, and tiredness while carrying out his or her duties. Aspirant should carry on with his or her duties responsibly without abstaining from duties out of love by exhibiting patience. Few in this world misinterpret patience to be ignoring the duty or abstaining from performing duties. We should not indulge in avoiding our duties under the shelter of patience. We should carry on with our duties with the character of observing patience. If aspirant sees through his or her own eyes someone committing mistakes or bad acts, aspirant should not conclude him or her to be bad. Instead, aspirant should investigate and find the reason for him or her to commit that bad action. Aspirant should follow through in all situations to change and correct the course of that person committing the bad acts. Detachment to the person's mistakes, and out of love for that person's committing mistake, aspirant will be enabled to observe patients. While observing patients, aspirant can manage the situation in assisting the person to display better attitude. Aspirant should always remain alert on accompanying challenges while observing patients and carry on with his or her life duties with the two baseline intrinsic personalities, which is detachment and pure love. Patience is not possible without these two baseline personality qualities. While observing patients in all thoughts and actions, aspirant will eventually develop an attitude of every problem situation is insignificant or too small for him or her to deal with. Similarly, in all happy situations too, aspirant with patience will not be perturbed and will exhibit an attitude of insignificance. This is a natural quality gifted to him or her by nature with the perseverance on exhibiting patience. This quality is called tolerance. Tolerance also can be equated to infinite patience or a boundary for patience. Tolerance also can be equated to complete or extreme patience in all thoughts and actions. Tolerance also can be described as a peak or highest threshold of patience. In all situations, aspirants should not lose the control and should adhere to the stated goal of observing tolerance. When aspirant observes patience to the completeness, tolerance personality will register in aspirant's nature as a permanent character. What epitomizes that this tolerance character is the exhibition of patience by observing inherently two baseline personalities of detachment and pure love. To quote an example of a tolerance as a character, a tolerant aspirant, while helping a patient with contagious diseases like flu, cold, cholera, or any contagious virus, will not have the fear of these diseases. The detachment personality from self protection and pure love personality towards the patient who is in dire need of aspirant service will overcome that fear. Having come this far, aspirant will now face real life challenges. This can be said as a real life test or God testing the aspirant's ability for spiritual quest. Most of the time, observing tolerance will push the aspirant to the state of hopelessness, as the hardship he or she will be subjected to will be unbearable. The aspirant observing maximum tolerance will be termed as an outcast or loser in the society. Aspirant will be looked upon as unreliable to the society, unreliable to the family, and in many cases may be accused as mad. Even at this point, aspirants should not get frightened or lose hope and waver from any condemning label casted by the society. Aspirants should not be perturbed with any challenges posed by observing tolerance. At this point, aspirant will develop a loneliness and look for a mental dependence which no human relations can provide. This seeking of dependence will have intense craving with deep love. This dependent support can be rendered only by supreme principle, either through the aspirant's faith or by the knowledge acquired from aspirant's spiritual master. Support will arrive from the supreme principle to the level of aspirant's belief and the love on his or her faith. This love will have no doubts and full acceptance of that supreme principle. This supreme principle can be referred as God or Almighty. The feeling of missing God will make a devotee relying on God alone for everything and will continually shed tears by craving for the God's love. At the same time, a new joy of happiness will appear then and there, making the aspirant to shed tears of joy. This mental state is described as devotion towards God. To explain the power of devotion, I just want to draw an analogy my master quoted for the devotion towards Supreme Principle. When a baby is running speedily towards mother with pure love, but before reaching the mother, the baby trips and falls. The baby's physical body has not instantly reached the mother yet, but the mind can reach the mother instantly. Mother, without waiting at this time, runs towards the baby to give that love sought by the baby and secures the baby. Mother's love will have infinite compassion to soothe the pains of the baby. Similar to this, when aspirant devotion to God intensifies and seeks support, God will provide the helping hand. Aspirant is the baby and the God is the mother in this analogy. Aspirant act of clinging on to God with this surrendering devotion will enable God to descend to console and support such an aspirant. This will give a boost to the aspirant to tread the spiritual path with ease. Aspirant's devotion towards God will be refreshing to stay on course in the pursuit of supreme consciousness and thus paves the way to inherit the qualities of godly personalities. The devotion and reliance of God by the aspirant for everything will transform into surrendering love proportionate to the intensity of that love. Proportionate to this intensity, I ego or the human aware I consciousness captivated in human life is completely lost. Aspirant with pure devotion to the higher power or God will develop detachment from material world and will exhibit love without preconditions towards every human, every being, every object, and the nature as well. Aspirant will have the grand acceptance of everything in the nature as nature has presented in front of him or her. An intellectual human will find it hard to comprehend what I am going to say. Aspirant at this level of progress with personality changes towards divinity will reach a point that the human enabled I consciousness is being lost as if death is occurring to the human body. However, human body is not dead or not going to die, but encroaches into the territory of soaking in divine filled supreme consciousness. To clarify this point, let me state what my master says. Humans possess both physical organs and celestial organs. Physical organs are present until the human body exists. Celestial organs exist even after human death. Physical organs go dormant and celestial organs awaken at this point while leading a human life. Every human in this world is equipped with these two types of organs, and it is us who are captivated by human I ego, which is enabling us to live in the delusion of relying on physical organs. This understanding is the grand understanding and is the real truth. That's why the aspirant in spiritual path is labeled as truth seeker. Having come this far with the character refinement and matching the godly characters, an aspirant will end up in perfect let go or sacrifice or self-sacrifice attitude. This is the stage aspirant will feel material life is insignificant and he or she does not need anything in this life for himself or herself. Aspirant will let go things for others. When the aspirant sees that his or her position is needed for someone, aspirant will give that away without second thought or any inhibitions. This is because aspirant has perfect detachment and pure love for giving with the experience of patience, tolerance, and devotion to God. Act of self-sacrifice or selfless giving has a special mention for spiritual progress, because this action has the power of placing the aspirant in a better place in the astral world after human life. Higher the self-sacrifice, higher the reach in the astral world. Higher the reach in the astral world takes one closer to God. This act of sacrifice shows the power of detachment and pure love. Act of giving is possible only with human body because of material things present in human life. The self-sacrifices made in human life wins accolades of spiritual gains and higher status in the post-human life in celestial world. One important thing the listener should note here is self-sacrifice and physical service is not possible in post-human life because material possession to give is absent in that environment. Human life is a great treasure for an aspirant to indulge in self-sacrifice or selfless giving. In the personality progress to match the divinely God characters, aspirant will naturally develop the final important character of forgiveness. Forgiving endlessly is a godly character. Aspirant will forgive everyone and everything with no reservation. Act of forgiveness will remain a permanent character for the aspirant. With all pre-qualification characters we have seen, with two baseline personalities of detachment and pure love, and indulging in all actions of life with patience, tolerance, devotion, and sacrifices, the forgiveness will remain sincere. This forgiveness is not for the namesake or for image grabbing or for gaining anything materially. Sincere forgiveness with all the pre-qualification characters breaks down the last remaining I ego of the aspirant. The beauty of sincere forgiveness is even a karma causing wrongful action by a person, once forgiven by the aspirant at this level of progress, that karma will be erased instantly. Even the nature is altered to the tune of aspirant's mindset in this action. A good example for forgiveness in human character is when Jesus, at the time of crucifixion, prayed to God for the tormentors, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Imagine the personalities of detachment, pure love, patience, tolerance, sacrifice at foreplay in this act of forgiveness by Jesus Christ. This forgiving is possible only with the pure love exhibited on the tormentors and the detachment from the suffering inflicted on Jesus by the tormentors. For everything, the aspirant in this state forgives. If this character of forgiveness is exhibited by the aspirant, the intellect with I ego will completely disappear. One in this state is entering the foothill of supreme consciousness. Whatever personality changes we discussed this far are friendly to everyone. These personalities are human friendly, nature friendly, divine friendly, animal friendly, and does not harm anyone or anything, in spite of your association with any religion, any faith, any nation, any color, any culture, or any belief. These personalities will amplify our efforts to rid the I ego present in us. These are the personalities which is ingrained in supreme consciousness. These are the personalities in the core of every human which we ignore. That core is called soul. When we scale up by embracing these personalities, we reach the grand consciousness which is supreme, ultimate, and there is no consciousness beyond that. This supreme consciousness is present in every pore of this universe, and it is the root cause for this creation. This effort of going beyond human aware consciousness to supreme consciousness is what is called spiritual journey. This journey does not complete with the end of human life if we don't achieve it as a human. This supreme conscious awareness in human life will bring us the grand understanding that all lives in this earth are the same and we are deathless. At this point, we know our origin, where we started the journey, and we know our destiny, where we are going to end our journey. This scaling up from human consciousness to spiritual consciousness is what we call enlightenment. In this modern world, this personality change alone will lead us to complete our spiritual journey, or at the minimum will enhance our spiritual journey. Our ancestors, who were once humans, have attained the supreme state. They are the one governing our solar system, our earth, and many celestial objects. They care for the humans in this earth. They care for all living beings in the earth. They care for the nature in this earth. They care for the post-human lives in the celestial world. They govern the environment. They want prosperity for every life in earth and every life in the celestial world. The prosperity in that scale of measure is we all reaching the state of supreme consciousness and not the material goals we have in this human life. They adjust the environment and the physical nature as per the environmental plans they carved out. They created this COVID and they will create post-COVID natural disasters as well. With our human aware consciousness, we will accuse them as sinful, hurtful, ruthless, and whatever we can name it. But while we acquire that great and grand supreme consciousness after leaving the human consciousness, we will see their outpouring blessing. Across the world, many elevated souls from all religions after human life enlightenment are indulging in this great service for us. They are wholeheartedly serving us. After saying so much about personality changes for spiritual pursuit and not citing real life examples will lead some to remain in doubts or confusion or contemplate. To help them out, I will cite few examples in our daily lives purely for the reasons of understanding these personalities and to follow in our daily life. First real life scenario is a father having a mischievous son is undergoing financial losses due to son's actions. But this father, without any irritation, is undertaking efforts to keep the family happy by constantly working hard to earn and support the family. The financial losses incurred by the father is turning insignificant for the father because of an attitude of detachment. Out of pure love for the family, without anything expecting in return, he still works hard to serve the family, including the mischievous son who is part of the family. One can visualize in this action the personality of both detachment and pure love playing a role in father's action. The same father is exhibiting patience and tolerance by not adversely reacting to his son and the hardship he is facing. This father, with reliance on faith and devotion to Almighty, will gain ample strength to exhibit an attitude of honest sacrifice by giving significant importance to his family duties. The very same father exhibits the forgiving attitude by accepting the state of problems he is enduring in spite of him, not the root cause for the financial losses, and to move on with his duties. Second life scenario is a single mother, even during a financial distress and physical hardship, will ensure proper meals are served to her children. To accomplish that, she will do petty jobs, including servant maid, to support and secure her children. It is generally said every mother undergoes rebirth while giving life to a baby. Such a mother displays detachment to her sufferings, hunger, and fatigue. Such a mother is also serving her children out of pure love for them. She is exhibiting the intrinsic personality of patience and tolerance as well. Out of her sincere faith, she will gain strength to withstand the hardship and care for her children. Third real life scenario is a soldier defends the nation to secure the nation from the enemies. This soldier exhibits detachment from his or her own life and affection to the family. The very same soldier, out of pure love for the nation and people, gives his or her life by defending the country from enemy. fourth real life scenario is an office worker diligently works 8 hours a day for the pay he or she is getting, though he or she has chances to rest, waste time, indulge in illegitimate benefits, and so many other unethical behaviors. This office worker is showing detachment to the stress, strain, and other illegitimate benefits while performing the office duty. The very same office worker, out of pure love, is performing the job and fulfilling the duties. This office worker is exhibiting the intrinsic personality of patience and tolerance while carrying out the duties. I can go on and quote more examples in our daily lives explaining these personalities we should embrace for acquiring supreme consciousness. My whole intent here is to give an introduction of personalities for us to embrace to acquire supreme consciousness. These two baseline personalities of detachment and pure love, along with patience, tolerance, devotion, sacrifice or giving attitude, and forgiveness, should be permanently present in aspirant under all situations in life to its completeness. If efforts are taken voluntarily by the aspirant, this will eventually become natural personalities. This should be practiced every day and every moment. More such messages from my spiritual master can be heard by you. He has much grander knowledge and experiences to share, and for that reason, I will now seek your 2 hours of time on your weekend. We don't need your money or any physical efforts. All we need is your listening time. Nature has taken control over us with the introduction of COVID and imminent natural destruction planned for the humanity. This is the perfect time to acquire this knowledge. I am sure with the divine instigation, nature introduced COVID can be controlled or stopped with our progress towards divinity by following the personality thus far mentioned for removing the I ego. Humanity, by not observing these personalities, which enhances compassion, is the main reason for our suffering today. Embracing these personalities will enhance our quality human life and also the quality celestial life. Embracing these personalities also will get us closer to Almighty or merge us to Almighty. Merging with Almighty is equivalent to soaking in the supreme consciousness or realizing the self in us. This merger is the core message of every religion. My organization, through my master, has delivered this truth through many spiritual talks in the last 3 years in several South Indian districts. My master surely has more invaluable messages to enhance these divine friendly personalities. This transformation in us will help us surely to understand the reasons of COVID, origin of COVID, remedy for COVID, and remedy for more natural disasters ahead of us. This is the solution to the COVID problem. Our efforts in this direction will align ourselves with the nature's plan on evolution. I assure you, you will not lose anything by listening to my master. Rather, you will only gain your knowledge on seeking your own eternal soul and the existence of truth. Please email to hindubrahmam@outlook.com, which is spelled as HINDUBRAHMAM at Outlook, that is spelled as OUTLOOK.com. Also, we will forward to your email a YouTube video link having PowerPoint illustration to watch the methods propounded by my dear master. My organization sisters and brothers are awaiting to collect your emails and send a video conference invite. With this, I will wrap up my introductory talk. Thanks a lot for your time and listening. God bless each of you. Om Brahmam Saranam.